Hello students in primary school, junior school and senior school. Welcome to my channel, Samuel Academy. My name is Samuel and my profession is a meteorologist. I make weather observation and basically I study weather. So I want to welcome you to my channel, and in this video I want to explain how a wet bulb hygrometer works. This is an equipment that is found in a weather station and it is used to measure relative humidity in percentage. So this is how it looks like, the wet bulb hygrometer. Now this equipment is made up of two thermometers, the dry bulb thermometer and the wet bulb thermometer. The two thermometers are ordinary mercury in glass thermometers. The dry bulb thermometer measures dry air temperature and the wet bulb thermometer measures wet bulb temperature. So me as an observer, I take a reading every hour from this equipment to be able to make, or rather to determine, humidity of the air. Alright, let me talk about the two thermometers. I say that the two thermometers are the same, but around the wet bulb, this is the wet bulb, this is the dry bulb. So around the wet bulb, we wrap or we tie a muslin cloth. This is the muslin cloth. And then we have cotton threads, these ones, or a wick, which is immersed in distilled water in this container. So the water rises by capillarity along the wick and evaporates. That evaporation causes cooling around the wet bulb, such that when an observer comes to make an observation, he reads the two temperatures, the dry bulb temperature and the wet bulb temperature. In most cases, you find that the reading on the dry bulb temperature is higher than the reading on the wet bulb temperature, because around the wet bulb we have evaporation taking place and therefore cooling. So the wet bulb temperature is usually lower than the dry bulb temperature, except when air is fully saturated with the water vapor. When humidity is 100%, the two record the same temperature and the difference is 0. But in other cases, when the wet bulb temperature is lower than the dry bulb temperature, the difference determined from the two, which is called the wet bulb depression, is what we use to calculate humidity. Like in this case, the dry bulb temperature is around 24.9 degrees Celsius and the wet bulb temperature is about 19 degrees Celsius. So you see, there is a difference between the two. That difference, I said, is called the wet bulb depression. Now I want to explain how we use that difference to calculate humidity in percentage. But before I do that, I want to urge you, my dear students, to subscribe to Samuel Academy, because when you do that, you'll be able to see more videos and you'll promote this work for the benefit of many students. Some of them come from remote areas and they have no access to a weather station. But in this channel, they will be able to see how this equipment work. All right. Now, after making an observation, after reading the dry bulb temperature and the wet bulb temperature, you get the difference. That difference is what you use to calculate humidity by either using a slide rule. This is a slide rule. It is called humidity slide rule. All right? Or you can use what you call a psychrometric table. This one here. This is a psychrometric table which has this column for dry bulb temperatures and this row for the depression of wet bulb. So after making an observation, after reading the dry bulb temperature and wet bulb temperature and getting the difference, then you can use this table to read the humidity value in percentage. So these are humidity values. For example, if your difference was 6.5, that is dry bulb minus wet bulb, you get 6.5. And the dry bulb temperature was 23 degrees Celsius, you would get humidity value of 47%. So that's how you can use this table to determine humidity in percentage, or you can use a slide rule to calculate humidity value in percentage. So that is how we use a dry bulb and wet bulb hygrometer to measure humidity in percentage. So in summary, we have two thermometers, the dry bulb thermometer and wet bulb thermometer. From this thermometer, we read the dry bulb temperature. From this thermometer, we read the wet bulb temperature. Then we get the difference between the two and use a slide rule or a table to determine humidity in percentage. So I hope, my dear students, this video has been of great value to you. I want to urge you to share widely, to like the video, and remember to subscribe to Samuel Academy. Thank you and welcome again.